Hi, I wanted to thank you for joining me for this case study. We put this presentation together about investment opportunities in an exploding real estate market because we've been asked many questions. What's going on now? What are the right areas to invest in? And those are some of the things we're going to talk about today. So let's dive in. The purpose of the case study: let's take the myth out of real estate investing. Let's explain why it's a predictable investment and break down the numbers step by step. Want to reveal discounted house sources that most people will never know about and identify 3 ways investors are cashing in and a secret some are using without buying houses. So what you'll learn today: you'll learn some benefits of out-of-area investing. That may be a new thought. Some people have never thought about investing outside of where they live. What makes a good deal? What are the different opportunities to create this cash flow? How investors in my area are finding deals, and a strategy to leverage the knowledge and efforts of successful investors to create a cash flow being secured by that cheap real estate. I just wanted to share with you a map of the Tampa Bay area. You've got that bright yellow. Tampa is the central hub in the middle. To the west, you've got the St. Pete Clearwater area, and a little bit north of there, you have Newport Richey, Port Richey, Holiday. Those are the areas we're going to be talking about when we're specifically referring to the Tampa Bay area. And the next slide will tell us why. So let's talk about Tampa. Why do investors pick Tampa? I'm sure everyone's familiar with Tampa. They've heard of Disney and Orlando, the beaches. Those are all things that bring tourism to the area. However, what makes a good investment in the Tampa Bay area? Well, it's affordable. The taxes are low here. The weather is great. And it's actually one of the primary targets for foreign investors. Nearly 11% of Tampa's home sales last year were foreign in nature. We've got the stable rental market and the steady job growth. Makes perfect opportunities for investing in the Tampa Bay area. Here's a chart showing some of the bigger investment opportunities for rental properties that have been going on in the Tampa Bay area. You've got the Tampa Bay's biggest single-family landlords. I'm sure we were all familiar when the market crashed and the hedge fund groups were buying up all the properties. Well, this chart is from 2012 to 2013, so the numbers are going to be a little higher today. But you've got the Blackstone Group. The Blackstone Group owns over 2,100 homes in the Tampa Bay area, over $326 million worth of real estate. They bought it for an investment. They bought it for a rental. They bought it for cash flow. And you've got the Silver Bay Realty Trust, 925 homes, just to name a few. These bigger groups looked at opportunities of where they could invest that would be safe and that would give them a good return, and they picked the Tampa Bay area. Here's another article from CNN Money, 10 best cities to buy a rental property. Here's Tampa, Florida, amongst the top 10. The opportunity awaits the intelligent investor. Let's take a look at this comparison and see the advantages of out-of-area investing. Say you own a house in Tampa Bay, Florida. You paid $70,000 for it, which is common here, and it will rent for $950. That's according to the Tampa Bay Housing Authority for Hillsborough County. Now you buy a house in California. Say you live in California. You pay $500,000 for it, and it rents for $2,500 a month. You could take that $500,000 and you could actually buy 7 houses in the Tampa Bay area for $490,000, and you can receive $6,650 a month in rent. Or if you're in California, you could buy 2 houses. Now you have $1 million invested and you're receiving $5,000 a month in rent. If you're looking at it from an investment point of view, which scenario makes more sense. So let's discuss capital appreciation. That's what most of us are taught to do. So if you invest for capital appreciation in the stock market, you're hoping stocks will go up in value over time. The key word is hope. You hope the value will be enough to provide steady income once you retire. And then once you use up that capital in retirement, you hope that you don't outlive the money that you had saved. Now we'll compare that to cash flow. Cash flow builds financial security. It comes in every single month without eating away at the capital. When your monthly number comes in with your rental properties, you can actually relax and enjoy life. And this money keeps coming in even if you lose your job and you still have the appreciation in the value of the property. Let's discuss the process a little bit. Where are these properties going to be found? First, you have to locate the motivated sellers. You have to provide solutions to them through speed and ease of a transaction. You can use cash from private lenders who are everyday people to buy properties at deep discounts, and that creates a win-win-win scenario for everybody involved. When you're able to use cash to purchase a property, it makes the transaction go very smooth, and it gives that motivated seller peace of mind that everything's going to happen just as you said. So where do you find these motivated sellers? How do you buy properties at 50 to 60% of the as-is value, which we'll talk a little bit later in the presentation? Well, you look for off-market houses. These houses are not listed in MLS, and they're not accessible to the general public. You find these houses from direct mail. You can market to vacant houses, divorced, tired landlords, out-of-state owners, probate sellers, people who had a loved one die and now they have a property and they may not live in the area of the property and they need to sell. Tax deed sales, people are behind in their taxes. The property's usually vacant. We've got the county code violations, and there's also the foreclosure auctions. Here's a property in the Tampa Bay area owned by an investor who lives out of state. They actually live in Canada. It's 840 square feet, built in 1969, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. The property was purchased by this investor at $30,000. There was $11,000 in repair cost. It brings in $845 a month, and the taxes are only $776 a year. As we had brought up earlier, the Tampa Bay area has low taxes. So on the next slide, we'll see all the numbers broken down to see what type of return on investment this investor is receiving. Okay, here's a continuation of Tilson Drive. This is a program that we have to help us calculate return on investments when we're looking at purchasing properties for ourselves. There's the numbers, the $845 a month in rent. If you look at the bottom, we've got the purchase price plus the repairs, $41,000. We've got the net operating income, comes out to $6,175 a year, which actually gives a $514 a month net cash flow. That's after all expenses. That includes a property management fee, and that also includes a vacancy rate. The cap rate comes out to over 20, and the annual return on investment is over 15%. And because this property was purchased with cash, in 6.7 years, it'll be paid off in full. So then you have the equity in the house, plus you have all that monthly cash flow, and this is only one property. So now let's discuss some of the terminology involved in real estate. The last slide was one way investors are investing. They're actually buying rental properties. They're not self-managing them. They're paying a management company to take care of them for them. That way they don't have to live in the area. They don't have to show up at night If there's a toilet that's leaking or something's wrong, the property management company handles the whole thing for them. So some of the terminology. Real estate is all about the value of a property once it's fixed up. The term in the industry is the ARV, which is the after repaired value. It's different from the stock market, where stocks are bought at market price. Investors actually add value to real estate and they buy them at a discount. So let's continue with the numbers. The next number is the RC, or the repair cost. It's going to be the estimated cost to fix up the house and bring it to that after repaired value. Fixing up the house could be having a fresh coat of paint, could be replacing the flooring, replacing the carpet, maybe a new water heater, whatever needs to be done to get the most value out of the property. If you're going to rent the property, it needs to be fixed up enough to give good, clean living to a renter. If you're going to resell the property, same things kept in mind. To a retail buyer, it needs to be in good, clean shape. So you've got that ARV, after repaired value, you minus your repair cost, and then that's how you get the as-is value. And most of the time, the as-is value is the list price in MLS when listed by a real estate agent. They usually take into consideration the repairs that may be needed on the property to get the most money out of it. Here's a quick review. ARV, after repaired value, minus the RC, repair cost, equals the as-is value, or AIV. Let's look at another property in our area that was fixed up by an investor. This one was actually fixed up and resold. The one we looked at earlier was kept for a rental. So this house is 1,749 square feet, built in 2000. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath villa. So the ARV after repaired value is $245,000. The repair costs were $30,000, and the as-is value before repairs was $215,000. This house was purchased by this investor for $140,000. So here's how it worked on Buckland Street. There was an accepted offer from the seller to purchase for $140,000. That's 57% of the after repaired value. The repair costs were estimated at $30,000. The other costs were estimated at $7,000. So there was $173,000 that was borrowed from a private lender. That private lender sent the money to the title company. It never goes to the investor. The closing agent at the title company recorded a lien with a note and a mortgage on behalf of the private lender at closing. Now it gets exciting. The private lender's money is secured by the real estate. So you have a $173,000 loan secured by a house valued at $245,000. That's 70% loan to value. And the private lender is paid 8 to 10% interest every single month for the use of his money secured by that property. Here's another example of an investor purchase property on Forest Hill Circle. The after repaired value is $105,000. The repair costs were estimated at $15,000, and the as-is value was $91,000. This property was purchased for $52,930. There was about $2,000 in other costs, and a private money loan was taken out on this property for $69,930. That's a purchase of 58% of the as-is value and 66% of loan to value. Again, the private money worked the same way as the last example. It was sent to the title company, and the title agent did all the paperwork to make sure there was a note and mortgage. There's also attorneys that can do paperwork for private lenders. Here are some common questions that we get asked, and you may be wondering, what happens if the market drops? Well, private lenders are protected by the equity in the home. Properties are only purchased at a discount, so that leaves room for any type of market adjustment. Another common question is, how long is my investment? It can be for as little as 6 months to up to 3 years. Each project is unique, and our investors are fully informed so they can decide which time frame and return fits their needs. So here we have talked about 3 different ways that people can get involved in investing. One is by owning rental properties, which could be out of their area where they don't live. Another one is by rehabbing and fix and flip, as it's often referred to, properties. Another way is to be a passive private investor. There's more ways to invest in real estate, but for the sake of this case study, those are the 3 that we were discussing. One thing that's really important is relationships, especially in real estate. So you've got the relationship between the real estate investor and the private lender, or the investor looking for cash flow. That's what creates success. All the pieces working together. It's very common to have other investors call to buy from us. We're always out there finding deals, and we sell some to other investors. And because we're always building relationships, we know investors that are looking for relationships with private lenders and buy and hold investors nearly every single day. You may just like to learn more about how private lenders make private loans and secure their money with real estate, or how to cash in on high returns on investment properties to hold in order to create long-term wealth. If those sound like any type of relationships you'd like to know more about, feel free to contact us at the number or the email at the screen. We'll be more than happy to get you in touch with investors in the area that are looking for those relationships, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.